Coming into today, I thought that the best piece of news for all of us is that we don't have to watch a single political ad again for another 4 years, but we get even better news as the Denver Broncos' secret weapon on defense, the key to what we have been doing and what we saw for the first 7 weeks of the season. The secret to unlocking this Denver Broncos defense is back. We're going to break that down, why we match up so well against the Kansas City Chiefs, that and so much more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben, and it helps me out a ton if you would like and subscribe. So diving in here, we were just absolutely blown away. We were demoralized. We let the Baltimore Ravens drop 41 on us. Lamar doesn't even play those last couple snaps of that game, and we all were left wondering, like, what happened to this Broncos defense that we saw shut down Baker Mayfield when he had all of his targets, shut down Herbert for most of that game. This Broncos defense has been incredible, and what was happening? We know that going into this Baltimore Ravens game, the Vance Joseph was leading the league in cover zeros and trusting his cornerbacks on an island playing cover zero, and Riley Moss kind of let something slip in this game. And he talked about how the Denver Broncos, in his exact words, they were playing a lot of zone and relying on their eyes, and it got a little bit crazy. So the Denver Broncos broke from convention, and they did not trust their corners and their secondary and their safeties on an island. And I think the big reason for that is that PJ Locke was out of the lineup. I actually had thought, going back to the Carolina Panthers game the week before, there were several times where I was like, man, that's a weird coverage that we're playing there. And I thought Devon Key really was dropping the ball there. And luckily that game got so out of hand that it didn't come back to bite us. But this week is an anomaly because I think the Broncos are going to be able to get back to their system because PJ Locke is going to be back in. So the great news is that PJ Locke is back. He is going to be playing in a hand cast. And so you could see, him struggling, wrapping up on the tackle. But I think this will allow Vance Joseph to get back into that man coverage. And you put Pat Surtain on DeAndre Hopkins the entire game. You let Riley Moss just roam with Xavier Worthy and know that, hey, don't let him beat you deep. And then you put McMillan or you put PJ Locke or you double Travis Kelce. And I think that's a fantastic matchup. I think this is going to make all the difference for the Broncos to get their second straight win against the Kansas City Chiefs. And even the game before we played them last year, Patrick Mahomes only got into the end zone one time in that game, so we match up really well. Vance Joseph knows this team inside and out, having played them several times, going back to when he was a coach here with the Denver Broncos when that losing streak was really in full effect. I think the other great thing with Sean Payton is that the more familiar he is with an opponent, the better his winning record is with them. I think that's why we finally got over the schneid and beat the Raiders this year. Like, Sean Payton figured him out. That's why we mollywopped his former division opponents in the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sean Payton was very familiar with them. He has not had a ton of head-to-head matchups with Lamar Jackson, and so we were exploited for sure, but you know that Sean Payton knows this defense that we're about to play. He even talked about how good this defense is and that how this week he's got to do stuff early on to slow down and quiet that Kansas City Chiefs defense. Really, that game seemed like an absolute blowout, but we are getting back PJ Locke. Drew Sanders is back to practice, so while we have a hole left right here with Baron Browning being shipped out to Arizona, we expect to see Drew Sanders worked back into this rotation, and if he's hitting as a backup edge rusher, dude, we are in fantastic shape, and we're going to be in the backfield all day long. And I think I don't expect to see him necessarily in this game, knowing that he was just back and activated, and that Achilles injuries are hard to come back from. Although we've seen Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins and Kobe you've seen a lot of players come back from it, and Drew Sanders is much younger than those players who came back from it. So I do expect Drew Sanders by the end of this year, when it is playoff time, to be back and have the burst that we thought we were getting drafting him in the third round. Other thing that you heard in Sean Payton's press conference was how this game actually was a lot closer than people are going to give it credit for, that they look and see that the Denver Broncos only put up 10 points, but we went for it 4 times on fourth down and were stopped. Several of those times we could have settled for field goals, and you add 3 field goals, and all of a sudden you're talking about a different game entirely as far as the lopsidedness. It looked like only dropping 10 points, but that's fine. Let all of the haters, let Kansas City look and be like, oh, they only scored 10 points on the Baltimore Ravens, and we're better. Let them sleep on us, because they are fixing to find out on Sunday, and I think it's going to be fantastic. And I think it's going to be fantastic because Bo Chapman-Nix, while everyone is sleeping on him, his numbers are elite for just not even just for a rookie, but his numbers are elite when you compare him to the rest of the quarterbacks in the NFL. That if you look at his numbers of plays over 20 yards, the only player who has more of them is Lamar Jackson. Now imagine when he has more targets than just a Cortland Sutton and a Marvin Mims who isn't hitting and a Troy Franklin who's not catching wide open catches in the end zone. When he doesn't have little Jordan Humphreys tipping the ball or fumbling it. Like, I just think the sky is the limit. We found our dude, and we're going to make the playoffs with him this year, and then the best is truly yet to come with tons of cap space coming up with all of our picks, with a ton of sixth round draft picks that we have, and we've seen George Payton's ability to go pluck talent at the end and late round picks, and that's just fantastic. So you're looking at that advanced analytics, incredible. You also look at this, that what did Sean Payton say that he disliked the most about Russell Wilson? And he didn't name this, but he was talking about his pet peeves. He hated quarterbacks who cause sacks. We know Bo Nix already is one of the least sacked quarterbacks in football this year. And the other thing he absolutely despised was turnover plays. And so, fumbles or interceptions that were the quarterback's fault for sure. And if you look at the lowest turnover quarterbacks in the NFL right now, you're not just saying it amongst rookies, you're saying every single quarterback in the league who are the most or the least interception prone quarterbacks. And you were looking at Bo Chapman-Nix. He has 1.6% of his throws have been turnover worthy plays. And you just are putting him in pretty elite company when you're talking about Joe Cool, Lamar Jackson, and Jaden Daniels, who's been playing his brain out. Like, he's been playing incredible. And then when you look here, there's another really cool advanced analytic that, going back all the way to college. Like, this isn't an anomaly for Bo. This is who he was in college. This is what Sean Payton loved about him on film. This is why he fell in love with him 6 throws into his pro day, because he's accurate. He is smart. He's a cerebral quarterback with a ton of poise, and he is very set up to take the Broncos to the playoffs this year. And then that streak is broken, and it's talking about being good, not just now, but from now on, because we have our signal caller. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Bo Chapman-Nix. Here's the other one. Just taking a look at seeing, like, he can make fantastic plays when it's Sean Payton draws it up for him, and nobody does that better than Sean Payton. Dick Vermeil said Sean Payton and Andy Reid are the offensive coaches of the decade. So Sean Payton is going to put him in situations for him to succeed. But when he doesn't succeed, or a play breaks down, or he doesn't have the playmakers that get open like Sean drew it up, Bo Chapman-Nix is also one of the best players to make plays outside of the structure. And so you're just seeing this dude is already hitting. And we are at this opportunity now as Broncos fans that, like, we're buying before anybody knows that this stock is going through the roof, because we have seen his off games are anomalies because of weather or because of weird 4th down conversions. And we know that we are ready to shock the world behind Bo Chapman-Nix. And then here was the other one that I thought was crazy. This was quarterback efficiency, and you're just seeing anytime your name is up here with all of these players, that's just a fantastic place to be. And I think that is just going to continue this week as we go into Kansas City. We have the chance to give our division rivals their first loss of the season, and it is going to feel so good. Man, Taylor, I hope you are there and we can play Shake It Off or all these songs and just, like, watch the pain on your face as the Denver Broncos beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And that is something we can all believe in.